In this video, I'm going to be showing you the refurbished Asus ROG Ally Z1 that I purchased, and I want to see if it's good value for money. Let's get into it. I wasn't exactly looking to buy a handheld gaming console, instead replace my laptop with something a bit more powerful. And the dual cores really ain't cutting it anymore. Anyways, while I was scrolling on my favorite deals website, I came across this crazy post. $500 for a Asus ROG Ally Z1 Extreme. I was amazed at the price and hesitated slightly to pull the trigger. From all the things I heard about Asus, I was still a little bit skeptical. I watched a couple of videos showing off the Z1 Extreme and even ones with some light video editing. Still, I knew it was a handheld, so I might not make much use of it as I should. It also comes with a 1-year warranty, so I'm not entirely screwed if something goes wrong. They do say that they are remanufactured, so hopefully any flaws have been fixed and hopefully the unit looks new. It also comes with a 1-year warranty, which is quite reassuring, so I don't get screwed if something still goes wrong with the unit. I then saw the resale price for secondhand units, 600 New Zealand dollars. I was sold, as long as I can get my money back for it just in case I don't use it enough. And it comes with a 1-year warranty, so if anything goes wrong, I'm covered. And as well, it can pretty much handle everything I can throw at it, at least when it's plugged in. So let's go ahead and find out, is this thing actually any good in the unboxing? So this is the unboxing here, and it's a pretty simple experience. For the remanufactured device, I found a little bit of trouble opening it up because the actual seam is in the middle of the box, so keep that in mind. It's a little bit hard to see because the Asus Tech logo is literally all over the box, so it took me a couple of minutes to figure it out. It was a little bit of an IQ check that it kind of failed there, but we got it in the end. So you just cut around it and it opens like a clamshell, easy enough. And then inside the box, we have the Asus remanufactured card here, or the actual paper, and it just says that it's been remanufactured and stuff like that. So instead of having a warranty card, as you'll see in a second, we have that piece of paper. And on the side of the box, so just make sure that you have your cardboard stand. This cardboard stand's actually very useful if you're using it in desktop mode. So if you're using it with a keyboard or mouse, I've found it pretty useful. So just remember that it's actually there. Now the actual device. So the Asus ROG Ally Z1 Extreme, as you can see here, looks really good. From what I could tell from the joysticks, they feel new. The buttons all feel good. They're not sticky or anything like that. The device itself looks pretty much brand new. It's spotless. There's no scuff marks. There's no scratches. From as far as I could tell on the outside, there's nothing wrong with it. Now, unfortunately for the inside, I haven't actually done a teardown of this thing, so I don't know what they've done inside. I have no idea what they've actually done to this device. So in terms of it being brand new, it does look to be, from what they say is remanufactured, it does look remanufactured. I don't know if that means they've replaced case panels, if they've replaced any part of it, the SD card floor that it could have had, but I do suspect this could have just been like a DOA unit, for example, and they've fixed it somehow and they're selling it again. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the condition it's come in and the stuff that's inside the box. Not to mention on the bottom, it also has the high wattage charger, so that's in there as well with the New Zealand 3-pin that I need, which is awesome. So everything that I need is in there, and the device pretty much looks brand new. So I'm very happy with the condition it came in, especially for 500 New Zealand dollars. I think that's kind of crazy. So let's find out, does this thing actually boot up? And can I actually play any games on it? Or did I just get completely scammed? So we're gonna find that out now, and let's head on to it. So I did have to plug it in for around about 5 minutes to let it charge a little bit for it to turn on, but luckily, as you can see, the screen turned on fine and I managed to set it up pretty easily. I just went through the normal Windows settings for Windows 11 and downloaded Steam and the stuff I needed. Now I won't be doing a full review today, but I can definitely say it turned on. First up, we have Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Unfortunately, there is a problem with Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, As you can see in the sped up part of this video, I can't actually load into the game, into the actual start of the game where I usually do my benchmark. Now the reason is because apparently it uses too much VRAM on certain levels with the settings that I was using. So when I have the FSR frame generation on, it seems to run a lot better and it pretty much works on all levels as far as I could tell. When I was doing my battery test as well, on one of the levels, unfortunately, it did not work, and that is when I realized what the problem is. Does it look the best? Unfortunately not, because it has the FSR 3 on, so the textures are a little bit pixelated, so they're not the clearest, but it's more than playable at an extremely high frame rate, which is quite nice. I mean, with the FSR 3 frame generation, and without it, it's definitely both playable. I don't have it on at the moment, and I think it looks pretty cool. Garfield car is up next. So we're sitting at around about 50 minimum FPS. Oh, I'm not playing my best because I keep looking at the camera. So honestly, this game is playing perfectly. We're definitely sitting at a minimum of 50 FPS, and I don't think I've seen it drop below 60 for a while now. And we're sitting around about 30%. Cyberpunk is the next game. There we go, there's a Steam Deck profile. So we'll just leave everything as is. So cool, so we're sitting at a smooth, ooh, we're about a 30 FPS or so. The game looks okay. There's a little bit of stutter there coming from the game. Definitely. So in the more difficult areas, it seems to be sitting around about 20 FPS. So as you can see there, in a lot of stuff happening, it's dipping down to 20. Cool, so that feels a lot smoother. Although the game doesn't look as nice. I feel like if it's a smoother frame rate, it's a little better experience. I find it funny as well, they put a 120Hz display, but a lot of these games won't even come close to getting to 120Hz. Next we have Horizon Zero Dawn. I put it on original, it's really almost at the VRAM limit. So the average FPS was 42, and then we don't have a 1% lows here, but it was a little bit all over the place with the frame time graph, but it's not too bad. Lastly, I have Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. The game is working quite well. Sitting around about 60 FPS. Yes, it's more than playable. Not a bad result for the real-life test, and it was surprising that even Cyberpunk 2077 could play somewhat. The temperatures were a bit high, reaching 95 degrees sometimes, which was a bit concerning on the 30-watt mode. I think it's an interesting note that some of the games on the 15-watt mode is more than enough and is much quieter than the highest 30-watt mode when plugged in. Also, changing your settings, such as in Cyberpunk, can help smooth out frame rates if you wish. I have a small battery percentage test here, and it's just battery percentage over time. It's the 30-watt turbo mode versus the 15-watt performance mode, and that's what I could get Ratchet & Clank A Rift Apart to run at. I ran the game at 1080p, just like I did in the test, but in this battery test I was using upscaling, so FSR, as well as the frame generation, so just keep that in mind as well, but it's a pretty simple test. So for the 30-watt turbo mode, we started the battery percentage at 99% and we ended at 3% for both of these tests, and the 30-watt turbo mode lost around about 1.92 battery percentage per minute. So that's over 50 minutes that it lasted. It only lasted 50 minutes, so not too long. Then for the 15-watt performance test, we started at 95%, so slightly lower, and we ended up at 3% as well, of course. And it lost a little bit less, so only 1.24 battery percentage per minute. And as a whole, the 15-watt performance mode lasted 74 minutes, so around about an hour and 14 minutes. So it wasn't too bad. It was around about 24 minutes over the 30-watt mode. I can say that the performance felt pretty much comparable to each other, the 30-watt and the 15-watt. Take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, just because I wasn't benchmarking, so I don't know what the average FPS actually was, as well as the 1% lows. Keep in mind, the biggest flaw in this test is I was playing linearly, so I was just progressing through the levels. So the 30-watt one, I was on a different planet, which was called Sargasso, and then later on the 15-watt one, I was on Blizzard Prime, so they have different assets and different particle flicks and different enemies that need to be rendered out. But I think in either case, they are a little bit short on the battery life. Now, I don't know if this particular unit has a problem with its battery, and if it does, I will return it, as it is a remanufactured product, so I don't know if they've actually changed the battery in this thing, but I don't know. It seems about right to me, but I haven't had the device for that long to tell, so I'll just leave this as is here, and this is just some food for thought on terms of the battery. Should you buy a remanufactured ROG Ally Z1? Well, based on the risk, it isn't too bad if you're getting a 1-year warranty from a reputable retailer like mine has. My unit pretty much looks brand new and plays like new, which is interesting. So if it says remanufactured, not refurbished, it should be close to a new unit. At this price point of 500 New Zealand dollars or 306 US dollars as of recording, there really aren't many other options that compete in price even on the second-hand market. The lowest I've seen is from an MSI Claw from around about 699 New Zealand dollars, which isn't too bad, but it has an Intel chipset. The Z1 Extreme is not a replacement for a laptop, but it is pretty powerful as it has an 8-core CPU, and the APU, as we saw, isn't too much of a letdown. It can literally run AAA games, which is really impressive. Mine also came with a hefty 512GB SSD, which is plenty. So who is this for, and who would I recommend a remanufactured Ally Z1 Extreme to? I think this device is for a casual gamer who just wants to pick up a controller and get playing quickly. Even so, I can see this being an emulation monster, and if you want to play AAA games from your bed, for example. If you can temper your expectations and don't mind lower texture qualities or frame rates, this device could be for you. Sadly, from the small battery tests that I did, it'd be hard to justify this for someone who wants to take this on the go. Yes, you can definitely turn down your settings, use a lower wattage, or even take a power bank with you. It just doesn't stop the fact that the battery life is a bit poor in my opinion. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I have to use the device with the out-of-box experience. Based on the 1-year warranty, the resale value, the basically brand new condition I received mine in, and the value comparison between it and other handheld consoles as well as the second-hand market, I'd say it was a pretty good buy at this price. This was a small summary of my thoughts, and I'll put out a full review later on. That about sums it up. Check out wisetech.org for some more awesome content. But other than that, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!